What's up, Mavs fans? Welcome into NBA Now from Chat Sports. Now, we're doing a Mavs video every single week here on Chat Sports, but if you want more Dallas Mavericks coverage from me, make sure you go follow me on Twitter at all_things_Mavs. I'm trying to get to 16.3 thousand followers. I've got 16.2 right now, but I want your guys' help to help me get to 16.3. Now, today's show is going to be all about Tim Hardaway Jr. and who they could look to replace him with if he decides to leave. Now, remember, Tim Hardaway Jr. has an $18.9 million player option this summer, an absurd amount of money for Tim Hardaway Jr., but he has emerged as a true third option for the Dallas Mavericks. He's a great offensive threat, and his defensive ability continues to improve as well. This year, he averaged 15.8 points per game, 2 assists, 3 boards, and 40.7% from 3, which was by far the most impressive thing about Tim Hardaway Jr. was what he did from beyond the three-point arc. But if he opts out, the Mavs could be looking to get a new shooting guard. But what do you want him to do? Do you want him to opt into that deal or opt out of that deal? Type I for in, type O for opt out. Now, if he opts in, that's $18.9 million on your books. If he opts out, you have the option to re-sign him, but you also have the option to look at some other guys. And these are the 4 names I have come up with in case Tim Hardaway Jr. opts out and decides to leave Dallas. Bogdan Bogdanovich of the Sacramento Kings, Evan Fournier of the Orlando Magic, Malik Beasley of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets are all the guys we will be talking about on today's show. But before I get into a deeper dive into all of those, I want to tell you about our friends over at Fanatics. Look, we're hooking you up with these sweet deals every single week. I don't know why you guys haven't used them yet. I know you have if you've been watching every single day. But if you go to chatsports.com/Luka hoodie, you get $15 off this sweet Luka Doncic hoodie right now. So again, that's chatsports.com/Luka hoodie, thanks to our friends over at Fanatics. Now let's start off with talking about Bogdan Bogdanovic. He's going to be a restricted free agent this summer for the Sacramento Kings. Look, I've talked about him a lot on this show. I think he's a perfect fit in Dallas. But the thing is, since he's restricted, he's going to cost a little bit more money to pry away from Sacramento. So you've got to keep that in mind. However, he is good friends with Luka Doncic and Boban Marjanovic, 2 guys that are from overseas. They're from Europe. You know, I think they can make a lot of sense to play with Bogdanovich. But in all reality, it's not just about what he has in the team chemistry, but what he does on the court is super impressive as well. 14.5 points per game this year for the Sacramento Kings, 3.2 rebounds, 3.2 assists as well, and shot 36.1% from beyond the three-point arc. He is another playmaker that the Mavs could pair next to Luka Doncic, and that is what makes him so valuable. If you have a starting 5 of Luka Doncic, Bogdan Bogdanovich, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kristaps Porzingis, and probably Dwight Powell in at the center position, that's a lot of buckets. You got KP and Luka and Bogdan Bogdanovich as your big 3. And look, the thing with Bogdanovich too is that he's still just 27 years old. He is in the prime of his career. But so is Tim Hardaway Jr. So which one would you rather have next season? Type B for Bogdan Bogdanovich, type T for THJ. Let's say the money is about the same, it's about even. You got to choose one. Which one are you choosing? Let me know in the comment section below. Now let's talk about Evan Fournier of the Orlando Magic. This is another guy who has, like Tim Hardaway Jr., a player option, this one for $17 million. Now, if he opts out of that deal, it's because he did a lot of great things on the offensive end. He's shot a career high from beyond the three-point arc this year, which we'll talk about in just a second. And the good thing about Fournier is that he can play off the bench or he can step into the starting 5 right away. Now, assuming Tim Hardaway Jr. leaves, that's what the assumption of this video is, he would obviously start. Because this past year with the Orlando Magic, he was on fire. 18.8 points per game, 3.2 assists, and shot 40.6% from beyond the three-point arc. That is that career high that I was just talking about. And when you look at that and then you put in what the Mavs already have at three-point range, it's really incredible. Seth Curry, 45.3% to lead the way. Tim Hardaway Jr. at 40.7%. Now, obviously, you would put in Evan Fournier in there in this situation, and he would replace him. DeLon Wright shot 38.4%. Not a lot of three-point shots, but he made the ones he shot. And then Maxi Kleber and Dorian Finney-Smith both shot over 37% from beyond the three-point arc this year. I love Evan Fournier, but I don't think he does enough on the defensive end to make him a prime target if the Mavs lose Tim Hardaway Jr. this summer. So what is the biggest need for the Dallas Mavericks this coming free agency? Maybe it's a new big man, maybe it's a new wing, maybe it's another defensive guy, maybe it's another playmaker. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I think it's a defensive wing, which I talked about last week. You can still go check out that video. We'll link it down in the description below. But today we're talking all about the shooting guards. And we're talking about the Dallas Mavericks every single week on this channel. So when you subscribe to Chat Sports, which is what you need to do right now, you'll get a new video every single week. You'll have a new video every single day from all of our incredible on-air talent. I mean, the guys are doing great things over on the NFL channel, here at the NBA stuff. So go subscribe, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Now let's talk about Malik Beasley. I actually talked about him in my last Dallas Mavericks video, but he could be a perfect replacement for Tim Hardaway Jr. He's a restricted free agent this summer. He was traded from the Denver Nuggets to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the middle of the year. The great thing about Beasley is that he's still young. I think he's about 24 years old. He's athletic, and he is a great defender as well. This year as a whole, between Denver and Minnesota, he averaged 11.2 points per game, 2 boards, 1 assist, and shot nearly 40% from 3. But let's take a look at the difference between his time in Denver and his time in Minnesota. When he was with the Denver Nuggets, the numbers they weren't there, let's be honest. He was scoring 7.9 points per game. He had about 2 boards per game, 1 assist, 39% from 3, and he played in 41 games. Now, he didn't start any of those 41, but he did play in 41 games. Now let's look at his time in Minnesota. Now, it's a small sample size. I get that. But it is extremely impressive what he was able to do. And I want to talk about this for a minute, because he averaged 20.7 points per game with the Minnesota Timberwolves. After he was traded from Denver, goes to Minnesota, puts up 20.7 points per game. Absolutely insane. 5 boards, 1.9 assists. He shot 42.6% from 3. And yes, he only played in 14 games, but he started all 14 of those. If he came to Dallas, you get his defensive ability, maybe you get a 20-point per game scorer. Malik Beasley makes a lot of sense on this Dallas Maverick team, and he's the youngest guy on this list right now. Came over from Florida State. He's still a young product, but he's also just skilled enough to get 20 points per game. I like Malik Beasley a lot. I think he would be a perfect fit in Dallas if Tim Hardaway Jr. does decide to leave. Now, I want to remind you guys once more to check out our friends over at Fanatics, because they're basically giving you this stuff for free. If you get $15 off this Luka Doncic hoodie, I don't know why you wouldn't have one already sitting in your closet. Go to chatsports.com/Luka hoodie. Go get your $15 off this Luka Doncic hoodie right now. Let's talk about one more guy. It's Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets. Now, he has been one of the best three-point shooters over the past 2 seasons. I mean, absolutely incredible. The biggest downside with Joe Harris is that he's not very good on the defensive end. Now, Tim Hardaway Jr. isn't an all-defensive player by any means, but he can hold his own. I mean, he's probably the second best wing defender in the starting 5 for the Mavs, next to Dorian Finney-Smith. But Joe Harris would be a sizable downgrade at the defensive position for the Mavericks. However, he is an unrestricted free agent. So unlike the guys like Bogdanovich, who's restricted, unlike Evan Fournier, who has a player option, Joe Harris is unrestricted. So you can sign him for whatever you want. But the thing is, the Brooklyn Nets are going to want to bring him back. They have Kevin Durant, they have Kyrie Irving getting healthy. He would make a lot of sense in that starting 5 as an elite three-point shooter, because that's what he is. Look at the numbers he put up this season with the Nets. He put up 13.9 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, only 2 assists, and there it is, the 41.2% from beyond the three-point arc. I mean, he really is one of the best three-point shooters the league has seen, like I said, the past 2 years. This year alone, just this year, of the players that have made at least 153 pointers, Joe Harris is up there in the top 5 when it comes to three-point percentage. J.J. Redick of the New Orleans Pelicans, 45.2% from beyond the three-point arc. I kind of thought he'd take a step back. He didn't. Duncan Robinson of the Miami Heat came out of absolutely nowhere, shot 44.8% from beyond the three-point arc. Davis Bertans, one of my favorite guys, a guy who I would love to see on the Dallas Mavericks, but now with the Washington Wizards, shot 42.4% from three-point range. And Bojan Bogdanovic, not Bogdan, but Bojan Bogdanovic, 41.4%. Joe Harris right behind him at 41.2%. Joe Harris, again, would make a lot of sense in Dallas as a shooter, but the problem is he doesn't have the defensive ability that guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. or even Malik Beasley do. But would you be happy with Joe Harris in Dallas next season? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Now, it's only probably going to happen if they lose Tim Hardaway Jr. If they do, Joe Harris might be a good replacement. But would you be happy with him? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Mavs fans, thank you guys so much for watching today's show. But before I get out of here, I gotta go remind you to follow me on Twitter at all_things_Mavs. That's gonna give you all the Dallas Mavericks coverage you need, all the Dallas Mavericks coverage you want all the time. I'm trying to get to 16.3 thousand followers. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.